What does winning mean to you? It's something you need to figure out. Wins are different for all of us as individuals, and they are different for every organization. If you don't define winning, then how do you expect to win? It's very important.
Let me clear my throat. I be the illest, you should feel my quotes. Beats up on the beat that break the pieces display. Quick to eat some Reese's Pieces with the thesis I read. Trying to stick it to foes, it's when a gun jam. In your crib and trying your clothes, they call me bruh man. Send me in the range coupe, scheming with the range troops. Salt and pepper, same shoot, then she give me brain, oops. I ain't mean to say that.
If I were gonna give you some tips on setting goals in the very beginning, I would just say keep them simple. Keep them attainable. You don't want to set your goals so far out that you feel like you're losing every time you measure one. You want some small wins, and you want your business to be stable. So goals that set the foundation for your startup are probably some of the most important things in the beginning. Once that foundation is set and you can see some patterns of business, then it's time to look at something that's a bit further away, or might be more of a reach to get to, because you know that your foundation is solid.
The only advice I can give you is what I've done myself. And I got it from a mentor of mine, to set the bar really high. See, we always set the bar for ourselves, like at this level, what we think we can do, not really what we want to achieve. And there's an old saying, if you aim for the stars and you hit the moon, you're pretty good, right? You're doing pretty well. But most of us never aim for the stars. We set the bar so low that when we mess up, we mess up even lower than that. That's why we never get to that next level. We never put ourselves in a position to be uncomfortable, to challenge ourselves, to really exceed a level that we thought we could. It's that level of being uncomfortable, that little bit of, is this even possible? I mean, I've already gotten this far. Every time you level up just a little bit, you realize that, that wasn't so bad. I can do a little more.
I sit down periodically and I write down a whole bunch of goals. I write them down for 3 different categories in my life: in my personal life, my professional life, and my physical life. And I regularly go back and revisit those. When it comes to setting goals, one of the worst things you can do is just shoot from the hip. And especially if you're a leader and you begin to create goals for people without having any understanding about what they're going through, what's reasonable, or what might block them from achieving the goal. You need to sit down and talk to people and get a grasp on what is actually possible. Set goals with the people that you work with and that work at your company, not just for them. It's very difficult to get people to buy into goals that they didn't have any input or say as to whether they're achievable or not.
I'm a huge fan of SMART goals. So, my greatest tip is to look up SMART goals. Make sure that your goals are specific, make sure that they are measurable, make sure that they are trackable, make sure that they are realistic. That would be my greatest piece of advice. Just making sure that in addition to setting goals, that you are setting goals that are achievable, and that you have a mechanism or a way to actually track them. And I think a lot of people, goals tend to be kind of philosophical. I want to become a better leader. I want to do X, Y, Z, when in fact you need to get really, really specific with your goals. Instead of saying, I want to become a better leader, the goal becomes, I want to read 3 books about leadership by X date.
Keeping yourself motivated is tough, and keeping others motivated, that can also be difficult. And in the past, we've used a lot of monetary strategies, right? So you make a certain sales quota, you get an extra bonus. You meet a certain KPI, you get an extra bonus. But what I realize is not everybody's driven just by money. Sometimes it's the ability to put that responsibility or put that creative cap onto your team. Give them the ability to take to buy in, to take control of a specific project. And then all of a sudden, they're going to want to do it because they don't want to let you down, because they feel, this is their baby. This is their project. This is something that they want to put their name behind. And there's a lot of power behind that.
If you're going to eat an elephant, you got to eat that thing one bite at a time. That's exactly how you should look at achieving your goals. One step at a time. What can I do to be 1% better today than I was yesterday? Not only will that create and move you towards improvement, it'll also stop you from making tons of negative progress. The idea that you're going to be 5 times better at everything you want and need to do at your business right away it's just not reasonable. It's not an expectation that is achievable. So overall, a little tiny bit of improvement each and every day is reasonable, it is achievable, and it's believable.
How do I stay motivated? I don't know. Sometimes I don't. But I mean, the things that motivate me are the things like when I have members reach out and they tell me a way that InnovateHer has profoundly and positively impacted what they're doing. So a lot of my motivation is external. And I guess that's probably not the healthiest thing, but therein it's the reality of the situation. InnovateHer exists to serve. And so anytime I hear that service, that it's working, that the system works, that's what keeps me going to the next level.
Ever since the pandemic hit, all goals and reality got flipped upside down for a lot of people. So when it comes to winning for some people might just be staying open and surviving and advancing to the next stage of entrepreneurship. For other people during the pandemic, business became impossible to do. So, the idea that you were achieving goals, like I said, sometimes it was just about keeping the doors open or staying in business. Other businesses really saw a huge increase in business during the pandemic, and some of their goals might have just simply been to hang on, to wrap your arms around the rocket ship on your way to the moon. So overall, winning is not easily defined across startups in general and can easily be defined on a startup by startup basis. What does winning mean to you? It's something you need to figure out. Wins are different for all of us as individuals, and they are different for every organization. If you don't define winning, then how do you expect to win? It's very important.
Winning as a startup to me is today the sun rose and I was open for business. Like, that is a win. There's a lot to be said when you're looking at gratitude and what you already have and what you've already accomplished. Sometimes when that goal seems so astronomical that you just feel like you can't get there, and you start to feel that imposter syndrome or that founder's depression, like this is not me, I can't do this, I suck, I'm not a good salesperson, I'm not a good podcaster, I'm not a good advertiser, I'm not a good entrepreneur. Like, all those thoughts keep going in your head. But you push through anyways, and you will succeed. It's one of those things that you will, if you work hard enough, you will get there. The small wins, right? The little things. You opened your doors today. You made a sale today. You made a customer happy. You made, you made your employee feel special. They succeeded. Those are all wins. Celebrate them.
Winning is like art. It's subjective. Some people would say you're not winning if you don't make a lot of money. I know companies that have been purchased for millions of dollars and they were never profitable. So you can't say they weren't winning, because they're not winning in the end gave them the biggest trophy of all. But yeah, winning for us is, moving forward at the speed at which we can move forward. That's winning for us.
Oh man, I have so many complicated feelings around winning in the startup space, because I talk to founders every day, and I've been part of the entrepreneurial ecosystem of Kansas City for years now. And one of the things that I worry about is, you'll 9 times out of 10, you'll ask a founder, how's everything going? And they are # killing it. They're winning. Everything is great. They did this, 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 and this. And there's this kind of tacit, unsaid idea that if you share that you're scared or frustrated or failing, that you're showing your vulnerability and that you're weak, and that really frustrates me, because it's not reality. It's one of the reasons I love Startup Hustle so much, because we're very intentional about sharing the hard stuff. So I don't know. I mean, I think that the winning culture, it's kind of difficult for me to get on board with it, because I know from experience that for every founder that I talk to that's able to list out, one or two things that like they're hashtag killing it and winning, whatever, I know that there are like 5 things that keep them up at night and make them sad or angry or frustrated. And so I have a very complicated relationship with the winning culture. Celebrate your wins when you have them, but also acknowledge the hard stuff, and don't be afraid to share that authentically.
In my opinion, winning is anytime you're able to move the needle forward. And it can go back to day one. You have a business idea, awesome. You file for your LLC, the day you get that filing back, boom, win. You make your first sale, boom, win. You make your 500,000th sale, but it's the biggest one you've made, win. I mean, all of these things that just continue to push your business forward and keep you going one more day is a win.
I always consider being an entrepreneur in a startup kind of like having or putting a puzzle together, right? So you got a 1,000-piece puzzle. Some of the puzzles are on the table. Some of them you don't even know exist yet. But every time you get one of those puzzle pieces put into place and you get it fitting in there perfectly, that's a win.
Like a conundrum, about to make the crowd bounce like a conundrum.